Hello and happy day. So to jump in, going straight in, but to again recap, and I want to reiterate certain things, and I guess also to make sure that I'm driving home some of the certain important points, and that is the ultimate purpose. And as mentioned before, that the purpose of meditation is to facilitate change within ourselves, not only in our external environment, but the harmony that we feel within ourselves and the essence of who we are getting closer to that Godhead. And I guess that's important. I want to touch on too, because I don't know what your word is, if you use universe, spirit, God, what your word is, because we all have different words and we have different, I guess, emotional responses to different words. So I throw out various words because I just try to get into the essence of what the word resembles. So figure out what your word is. What is that highest essence? What is that creative power? What is the pure force, life force that we have access to? And so again, to facilitate that change is not only in our external lives. Our external lives are a representation of our internal states. And so what we want to get to is, how can we get our minds closer to the mind of God? How can we attune our minds to be in harmony with the mind of God? And that's what all the spiritual texts, that's what all the even modern psychology will talk about, which I want to touch on briefly. So we talked about we got this little drawing back, the little spasm of a cell going through time and space. So we talked about we're all ever going through. Remember, just touch on it all again. So the outline, this is our conscious mind that has the ability to accept or reject any of the thought waves that are coming in. And our subconscious mind, being the greater portion of ourselves, accepts everything that is brought into it. And whatever our subconscious mind is at that point, we are emitting the same signal, and therefore that is going to be what we are noticing and resembling. And this little itty bitty dot, that is us, the smallest part of us. And I kind of, again, want to remind us about that, is that our physical body is the smallest part of us. We tend to think this way, that it's the biggest part of us, but it is really the smallest part of us. And so what I wanted to talk on again about the aspect of tuning our mind to the mind of God is that what not only the ancient text, but then also psychology will talk about as well, is the third mind. So we have the conscious, the subconscious, but then there is also the superconscious. So it is a mind that is the mind that is connected to all. It is that spark of divinity. It is that light that we have within, and we have the ability to tap into that. So it's kind of like, whenever you have an instinct to do something, and it was a beautiful instinct, you find out later that, oh man, that saved my life, kind of thing. It's like if you're driving and like you're trying to move with something in your passenger seat, and you just have a response of like, look at the road, and like, oh, you have to like slam on the brakes or something. There's a part of our mind that is connected to all. That is that infinite intelligence. And when we can find all these other sheets, when we can elevate our state of being to that, we are getting more in line with that. I got all the papers. We're getting more in line with that superconscious. We are getting more in harmony with that spirit, the spiritual states, the divine essence. And we have that. We just have to remember that. That is a part of us. That is what we're tapping into. We have all the goodness that we want, and it resides within us. And it is just a small task of getting to that. And that's what this is about. That's what this work is about. That's, again, what meditation is about. Is to be able to navigate through the minds, be able to get us through the sludge, the drudgery that feels that it is the weight that keeps us down. And I guess this is a perfect example of, it's the weight. It brings us down to the physical world. It attaches us too tightly to our five senses, and forgetting the divinity that we have within us, which is ultimately we want to feel. We want to feel worthy. We want to feel accepted. We want to feel enough. And with that is what I wanted to touch on specifically. And again, so these things that I'm touching on, these are like techniques that can be valuable, techniques and tricks and ideas and tactics to elevate our state, to allow us to feel better, because that's what we want. And if they work, keep rolling with them. But not all of them are going to be necessary all the time. It's just, what are the tools that work now? Because now is what it is, the ever eternal, never ending, which is ever eternal now. And the greatest time for change is now. Because now. And like, if you wait another 5 seconds, it's still now and now. So what I'm gonna get at with this is, so what I'm talking about is affirmations. And I know you've heard of them. But what I want to talk more on is the response that we get from affirmations. So if you remember, it's the vibrational state that we want to feel. So if we just say something like, I'm a billionaire, and we just feel like that's not, like, we can feel it's a lie. So what's happening from a scientific standpoint now, it's called, what is it called? Cognitive dissonance. So if we say something about ourselves to ourselves that is not in harmony with what is stored in our subconscious beliefs. So if we say that, the subconscious belief, the paradigm, if you will, the programming is fighting the existence. And so there's a clash, and it's just, you can feel it within you. You can feel it within your nervous system. So what we want to pay attention to is, we do want to use them, but what we want to pay attention to is, how is it responding within our body? And that is, again, part of what in the meditations of practicing, starting to be aware of your body. What do you feel? Where do you feel different emotions even? Which I haven't said that specifically yet, but that's another aspect of it. But so whenever we're saying these things, we don't want to just say it just to say it. It's not the words themselves. It is the emotion behind the words. It is the vibration behind the words, and it is our resonance with the words. So I do suggest practicing that, and I guess as our relationship develops with ourselves in the mirror, to be able to say things to ourselves, because as you look in the mirror, and after enough time, after you're looking in the mirror, goofy smiling, it won't be long before you just look in the mirror and you can't help but smile, because you're just used to it. You're like, you're a funny guy right there, or a gal, you're funny. And so as that relationship builds, we then get more comfortable with saying things to ourselves and accepting things about ourselves. And so the most basic, kind of fundamental accepting affirmation we can give ourselves is, I am enough. And the I am is the basis of who we are. And as stated in the Bible, I am hath sent me unto you. I am that I am. The I am is the essence of your purity. But sometimes we start to think the I am is this little me down here. But so we lose the force and the power and the essence of the I am, and think that I am a body. No, like that's not it. I am Tyler. No, that's just a name. Like, I am so much more than that. And so when we say these things about ourselves and to ourselves, we need to tap into, and again, this is what the practice of meditation is about, to lose this baggage, not lose it, but not be so attached to it, so we can tap into the true I am. And so I would suggest getting some affirmations, but also just practicing the I am enough, saying that to yourself. And another powerful practice that can be done with meditation is not just saying the I am, but in the mirror you can say you are, but then even more so saying we are. So you are beginning to combine your higher self with your little self. And so when you're saying, you can look in the mirror and say, I am enough, you are enough, we are enough. And like you start to connect with yourself even more so on that. And the other aspect of it too is in, again, the feeling of it. So that's what it is. So when we talked about using your body, so if there's a certain thing, because you don't want to just be like, I am happy. I guess not gonna cut it, you know what I mean? So you can use your body, and you're like, as you're cheesing to yourself, looking all goofy and smiling and laughing to yourself, you can say, I am happy. I am enough. I am good. I can do anything. I can achieve what I want. I can make the most of my life. You can say these things to yourself while using your body. Because again, it's going to be sending that, your body is then going to be sending that signal into your brain, and you're again reprogramming the wiring of your brain. So yes, it is the vibrational essence of yourself that we're attempting to alter and elevate, but also the programming in your brain, the neural pathways. You're creating those new pathways. So use your body as you affirm. So it's more than just an affirmation stating a word. It becomes an incantation when you embody all of it. It's all of you. So it's like, I am enough. I can do it. I will achieve my goals, that kind of thing, and you really charging yourself up. And so that is two, and using the body and the words and your relationship with yourself in the mirror to get into the feeling of it. So I talked about it briefly yesterday, I believe, but the essence of getting into the spirit of it. And the spirit of it pays no attention to the five sensory world. The spirit of it is vibrational. The spirit of it is beyond the 3D. The spirit of it is your mind, is your vibrational state. So practicing that, getting into the spirit of it, using your body, your incantations to really feel what you're stating, to really feel what you're trying to drive home. And that's that. And remembering that you literally are a divine essence. You are literally capable of all things. You are literally perfect the way you are. We just have to remind ourselves of that. We just have to take off the blinders of this facade that we have on. And yes, we own this, but remember, this is not us. We are in this. Just think of like a little brain floating around, and you just got this whole shell. It's like a turtle. You could take a turtle out of its shell. It's just a little worm-looking thing. So you're just a brain floating around, and you are in control of it. You run your world. You run your life. Just remember it. It's just a bit of remembering. So the thing I want to suggest as well, and I'll put it in all this, is when in meditation, just start to get in more connection and feel and flow with your body. What do I feel? What does my body feel? And remember to remind yourself, I am not my body. I am not my mind. What does my body feel like? What am I experiencing? And start to feel that, getting comfortable with seeing yourself as not just this. Hope this finds you well. Talk to you soon.